Adrian Cole was the town's most trusted pediatrician, yet the last camera footage of him walking through a silent hospital hallway with his motionless daughter in his arms would shatter everything people believed about him. Dr. Adrian Cole lived in a neighborhood where everyone recognized his name, yet no one truly knew him beyond his hospital coat and polite nods. He was often described as a man who had everything under control, a figure of authority whose presence brought comfort to anxious parents waiting in hospital halls. To the public eye, he was a symbol of trust. Each morning he left his house at the same time, carrying his medical briefcase, with an expression that never changed. Neighbors admired his discipline, unaware that his dedication to perfection extended far beyond his career. Inside his house, the atmosphere felt different. There were no signs of warmth or casual family life. The curtains were always drawn, the garden remained untouched, and children's laughter was never heard from within those walls. Mia, his daughter, spent most of her time indoors, rarely seen playing outside like other kids her age. When she did appear in the front yard, she stood quietly, watching others with a distant expression, as if unsure how to interact with the world around her. Dr. Cole maintained a precise routine, keeping his home spotless and silent. He treated every aspect of life like a calculated procedure, where emotions held no place. Neighbors assumed Mia was simply shy or homeschooled, never questioning why she always looked distant. Her clothing was always neat, but lacked the carefree signs of childhood, like paint stains or grass marks. She walked with the same controlled posture as her father, almost as if she had been trained to erase any sign of childish behavior. There were no family gatherings, no celebrations, and no visible sign of bonding between father and daughter. The house stood like a structure frozen in time, untouched by the natural messiness of family life. Despite his respected position, Dr. Cole never spoke about Mia at work. Colleagues only learned of her existence through a single-frame photo on his desk, where she stood beside him, expressionless. He never discussed his personal life, and no one dared to ask. People assumed he guarded his privacy due to the emotional strain of his profession, but the truth was more unsettling. The same precision he used in surgery seemed to extend to his parenting, turning their home into a place ruled by strict order and silence. From the outside, nothing appeared wrong. Yet there was an unexplainable stillness around the Cole residence, as if something important was missing, but no one could identify what it was. Mia's absence from school gradually became noticeable, but every concern was met with a perfectly constructed response sent through official emails written in professional language. The teachers assumed that a doctor-father would naturally provide the best care for his child, so doubts faded. However, the frequency of her absences grew, and what began as a minor concern slowly turned into a silent pattern. At the hospital, staff began noticing that Dr. Cole appeared more tense than usual. His footsteps echoed through empty halls long after others had gone home. Security footage captured him wandering through the pediatric wing late at night, entering rooms without turning on the lights, as if he wanted to move unseen. He spent long hours checking equipment that didn't need inspection, opening storage units and closing them again without taking anything, creating a trail of unexplainable activity. Neighbors around his home reported small but unsettling details. Some mentioned seeing the glow of lights flickering inside the house late into the night, followed by complete darkness within seconds, as if someone quickly shut everything off upon sensing movement outside. Others spoke of hearing low sounds that stopped abruptly whenever a car passed by. No one had a clear reason to report anything, so the unusual behavior remained unspoken, buried under assumptions that everything was fine. Because Dr. Cole was a respected figure, a local journalist named Ava Barnes, who had been investigating irregularities in child welfare cases, came across Mia's unexplained absence in school records. She saw the carefully crafted emails, noticed the formal tone, and found it strangely detached for a parent supposedly caring for a sick child. Driven by instinct, she reviewed security recordings from nearby areas, hoping to find a clue. She noticed Mia rarely appeared outside, and when she did, she was always alone, positioned near the door as though waiting for permission to move. In several recordings, Dr. Cole was seen returning home at precise times, always carrying sealed medical bags. He never stopped to greet neighbors or show any sign of stress, despite working long shifts. The contrast between his controlled composure and the hidden life inside his home sparked Ava's interest. She gathered clips showing the same repeated pattern: a silent girl, a restricted environment, and a father whose actions seemed too calculated to be normal. This growing collection of quiet evidence created an invisible tension, hinting that something was unfolding behind closed doors, unnoticed by a community that trusted him without question. Investigators finally began piecing together clues after one of Ava's reports reached local authorities. The decision was made to review hospital surveillance footage in detail, focusing on the late-night hours when Dr. Cole routinely stayed behind. One particular recording stood out. It captured him entering through a staff-only entrance just after midnight, carrying Mia in his arms. She appeared still, her head resting motionlessly against his shoulder. His expression remained composed, almost clinical, as if he were conducting a procedure. Rather than responding to an emergency, he bypassed the emergency unit entirely, ignoring the standard protocol that required immediate registration for any patient brought in that condition. The footage showed him heading straight to a restricted pediatric treatment room. He swiped his personal access card, which very few staff members had permission to use. After entering, he locked the door from the inside. There were no signs of panic or urgency in his movements. Instead, he acted with a calm precision that unsettled the investigators watching the footage. What made the recording even more disturbing was the timestamp. He remained inside the room for several minutes without requesting assistance or logging any medical activity into the hospital system. When he finally exited, he was alone. He carried only his medical bag, which appeared slightly heavier than before. His face remained expressionless, with no visible sign of distress or emotional reaction. He walked out of the facility the same way he entered, quietly, unnoticed by most of the staff who were either off shift or working in other departments. Security footage from the parking lot confirmed that he placed the bag carefully in his car before driving away at a controlled speed, never drawing attention. This sequence of footage immediately raised questions among the investigators. Why had he brought Mia to the hospital without informing anyone? Why was there no record of her being admitted or treated? And most importantly, what had happened inside that locked room? The silence in the video, broken only by the sound of distant footsteps and the quiet hum of hospital lights, added an unsettling weight to the images. Investigators replayed the footage multiple times, observing every movement, every pause, every calculated step. What once appeared as a father in distress now looked more like a person following a plan. The camera captured no struggle, no visible hesitation, only controlled actions that hinted at something deeply hidden beneath his carefully maintained image. The hospital administration initially attempted to defend Dr. Cole, claiming that a parent bringing a child through a private entrance was not unusual for staff members with access privileges. They suggested he might have been trying to avoid panic or unwanted attention. However, this explanation began to fall apart when investigators checked the digital access logs. They found that Dr. Cole had manually erased several entry records from the hospital database within an hour of leaving that night. The timestamps on the deleted data aligned exactly with the period when he was seen entering the restricted room with Mia. This deliberate removal transformed the situation from a potential medical emergency into something far more alarming. Further examination revealed that he had also accessed the hospital's medication storage twice earlier that week, withdrawing items that were not commonly used in routine pediatric care. Each withdrawal had been documented briefly and then removed from the system minutes later, replacing the original log with vague descriptions that offered no detail. Investigators contacted a former nurse who had worked closely with Dr. Cole. She recalled him ordering specialized supplies weeks in advance under the justification of private research, a claim that had gone unquestioned at the time due to his high status. As the investigation deepened, local media obtained fragments of the footage and leaked details about the erased records. The community that once praised him began to turn. People who had spoken proudly of him now avoided mentioning his name. His calm face on hospital brochures and health campaigns now appeared cold and unsettling in the public eye. Parents who had trusted him with their children felt an unexpected chill when recalling his composed demeanor. The hospital found itself under heavy scrutiny for allowing one man so much unchecked control. Even colleagues who once admired his discipline started to question the unsettling quietness he carried with him. Outside his home, news vans gathered, waiting for any movement. Yet the house remained as silent and sealed as ever, with the curtains still drawn and no sign of life inside. The absence of Mia became more noticeable than her presence had ever been. What disturbed many was not loud evidence of wrongdoing, but the chilling precision behind every step he took. Nothing he did appeared rushed or emotional. Each action seemed part of a structure only he understood, and that quiet control became the most unsettling piece of all. As investigators continued their search, they were granted permission to examine Dr. Cole's private office inside the hospital, a space only he used. Hidden behind a section of shelving, they discovered a locked cabinet that required a separate access code. After bypassing the security lock, they found a carefully arranged set of files, each labeled with dates and clinical notes. Among them was a separate notebook that stood out. It contained detailed observations written in a detached tone, referring to Mia not by name but as a subject, with each entry documenting her habits, responses, and behavior patterns. The handwriting remained steady throughout, showing no emotional shift even in the final pages. The last entry ended abruptly, marked with the same date she was last seen on camera. There were no signs of correction or second thoughts, just a sudden stop, as if the writing had been interrupted mid-thought. Investigators analyzed the language used in the notes and concluded that Dr. Cole had monitored his daughter with the same analytical mindset he applied to his patients, categorizing her reactions as if conducting a controlled study. This realization added a chilling layer to the footage already reviewed. It became clear that every step he took, from the medical supplies he ordered to the erased log entries, had been part of a deliberate sequence rather than an impulsive act. Reviewing additional security footage, authorities confirmed that he stayed inside the restricted room for exactly 6 minutes and 30 seconds before exiting. The precision of the timing matched the calculated pattern found in his notes. He showed no visible signs of urgency or distress when leaving the room, only a composed stillness. In the parking lot footage, he placed the medical bag in his car trunk with the same controlled manner, closing it slowly before driving away without hesitation. No neighbors reported seeing Mia again after that night, and no official record of her treatment or condition existed in any hospital system. The media labeled the case with a name that quickly spread across news headlines, turning his once respected image into one associated with cold calculation. There were no emotional outbursts, no dramatic confrontation, only a camera frame showing a man walking away in silence. That final moment, captured without sound, became the lasting image tied to his name. It was not a scene of chaos or visible violence, but a quiet exit that carried more weight than any dramatic event could. The stillness of that footage left a haunting impression, as if the truth had been hidden not through force, but through controlled silence.